Okay, so in this module, we're talking about creating connections with human beings. Whether you're at a business networking meeting or just in general at a meeting, it's important to connect with people on a what we call supernatural level or a higher level of connection. And we've got Jim Case here, who is no better. He's one of the best I've known in my lifetime at helping people understand connection and the power of a one-to-one communication or even a group communication and how you should resonate with them human beings. So first off, say hello, Jim.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Good. So yeah, in this module, I'm really trying to help people connect with other human beings. You know, a lot of people just run around a business networking group, for example, and they try to hand their cards to everybody and do a brief introduction and kind of hope to get leads out of that situation. And time shows us and experience shows us that if you make quality introductions and quality connections with people, this is where you get that know, like, and trust out of people. So I wanted to have you help me talk about that here today. So if you want to first tell everybody a little bit about who you are, and we'll shoot on from there.
Great. Well, super glad to be here. I have a business called Higher Brain Living and a coaching company called Got Joy. And I help people break through in their life and in all the dimensions of their life, whether it's with their work, whether it's with a relationship, at a personal level, but working one-on-one with people to help come to that breakthrough place in their world so that they can catapult themselves to the next level of their experience.
Awesome. So you and I have obviously worked closely together for several months on my connection with people. And one of the things you brought up that's been so prominent in my life is, Dennis, you need to show up. Like, you're not showing up as a human being when you're talking to you or talking to anybody for that matter. Can you kind of go into more of all of that scenario to help people understand what show up means? Because they think it's just showing up to an event, and that's not at all.
Yeah, no. Actually, that's at the very end of the trail here. But showing up, I think, starts with yourself. It starts with understanding what it is that you really want to accomplish with whatever the activity is you're doing. You know, to throw yourself into marketing event after marketing event after marketing event without having a very clear connection to self to start with is kind of going the shotgun approach to life. And so you're dispersing all of this energy in all different directions, but don't have a real clear focus. So I think the primary thing is one, getting real clear and real aligned with yourself about what am I trying to connect to from myself? What do I want out of these connections? Even if you're just there to generate business, you still want to develop relationship. And so you have to be comfortable in your own skin. You got to be comfortable with who you are and what you're presenting to the people that you're getting ready to talk to. And I think that when you find that presence, that's when you start showing up for yourself, when you understand and take the time to listen to what's happening for yourself on the inside, getting aligned with who you are and what is the message, what is it I want to gain, and what do I want to give, more importantly.
Absolutely. When you're in that position to now show up, right? And you start beginning a conversation with people, like you said, you're aligned with yourself, and that person's going to feel that, right?
Exactly.
They're going to totally feel that. And then, of course, when you meet somebody, there's that the barrier to entrance, right? To getting the connection with that human being. Because I kind of feel like it's like this. You literally, when you're connected with somebody, you really feel like an energy going back and forth. If you really understand that that's actually there, people kind of think, oh, that's kind of woo woo, but it really isn't. When you're in love making, you feel that all the time. We just don't point to it. But if you're in a really serious conversation with somebody, one to one, cell phone aside, all things aside, and you have a higher level of communication with somebody, that is going to resonate forever, right? Yep. You have now created a relationship forever. Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking of an example. We were talking or mentioning about things like going to an event. And how many times have you been to an event where you've met, or maybe you were the person who was seeing dollar signs all around the room, or seeing, and I say dollar signs because that can be extrapolated into a number of things, whether you call it clients, whether you call it investors, whether you call it connections, it's all dollar signs. And that perspective, and the reason I brought that example up is how many times have you been in an experience where someone treats you like a dollar sign? So they're all smiles and they're all pretty and they're looking great and they got a sparkle and they're ready to go and you're their dollar sign. Yeah. There's no connection. Right. There's no alignment there. And you kind of go, oh, okay, nice to meet you. But on the inside, the inside sort of contracts. Where when you have that connection, when you get real clear about who you are, when you show up at those events, your desire shows first in the desire to connect. And you don't know where those connections are even going to go. You just know that I want to connect with the people that I'm going to provide the greatest service to, and that they're going to provide the greatest service to me, however that looks. Right.
I mean, I know I can speak personally for myself. Obviously, I'm writing this course, and I know that's the power of it. I mean, how many times have you gone to an event with, there's a lot of people trying to gain your attention, but you said, I'm just going to focus on this person right now for now. And what was it like, the aftermath? I mean, the person probably sent you an email or has contacted you or said, I've met this amazing person, and they posted on Facebook because you gave them that everlasting time. Right? Yeah, you gave them full attention. Right. And that's the other thing about that is that when you are in that space with yourself, that's what they feel attended to. Right. Even if you're there to build a relationship to move your business forward, they still feel like they mattered in the dynamic, and suddenly there is connection. There's actual connection, not this, glad handing kind of experience, like you said, throwing cards at anybody will take one. Right. Well, and if you take money and slap it aside and everything aside, people want to obtain money to then create connections with people because they feel that that's going to give them the comfort they need. But if you can do that without it, I mean, granted, we are trying to connect and create income for ourselves. That's the end result. Of course, we have to make a living. We have to supply. But if you're putting that aside and you're creating connections, you're really paying that person in the way they really want to be paid, or you're giving to them in the way that they're really trying to get paid with money. Yes. And it's all, ultimately, Dennis, it's all energy. It's all, connection is all about the give and flow of energy. Well, if you create these connections that have that flow, then money easily falls into that flow because it's an expression of energy. But when it becomes the primary focus and you're driving from that perspective, you're not actually using it as energy. You're using it as a thing. You're making it, what's the word that I want? You're making it an object instead of an energetic expression, energetic exchange. Does that make sense? Absolutely. And another thing that comes to mind, again, we're trying to obviously create sales and so on and so forth with connection. Yes. When it's time to promote a new product, when it's time to call upon social interaction, these people now become your soldiers, because you can, with no question, reach out to these people and say, hey, I've got this new book I'm coming out with, or this new product I'm coming out. Would you mind share it? They're not only going to share it, but they're going to share it, and they're going to spend the time to write the right message to help you get this out there. I have spent time with Jim Case, and he is an amazing person. He has paid attention to me, and I want you to understand that this book is valuable, or this course is valuable. So they're going to take more than just time to just, like a lot of people you'll see that the busybodies will just take it and they'll post it for you. It's a 2-second post, right? But the ones that spend a little time and actually put a little mention into what they're doing, then resonate with their friends and so on and so forth. So it's a long-term investment in a lot of ways. And we're not doing this, again, if you're doing it with genuinity, you will get genuine out of it. Yes. Which is, well, and to your point, I had an example even yesterday, because I'm in the process of writing my book, and it's focused on the idea of fear of being a choice. But I sent an email to a friend of mine and said, hey, I'm looking for people to read so far. I want to get some. I want to see how it hits. I want to see how it feels. And the first thing that she said to me was, I'm a huge fan of you. I'd love to read it. Because we over time have had this relationship. And it's funny because I felt a little uncomfortable. Yeah. Like, I don't want to impose on her. I don't want to put my stuff in her space. But I thought all I can do is ask. And even in the asking, I said, hey, I get it if you don't want to invest the time in having to read this. Right. I get it, because some people don't like to do that.
So I gave her the out in the experience, so that it wasn't like I was cornering her into saying, you need to, again, you're my dollar sign. You need to do this. It's more, I want you to engage with the work, because that's going to give me the best feedback about, is this hitting? Does this, that kind of thing. So just an example to that point you were making is,
and that's a huge point right there. You need a quality response, not a passive response.
Yes.
And because you've developed that relationship, you now have a quality response, not a passive response. And
I think you hear that. I hear that phrase a lot now. How do we get people to engage? How do we get people to engage? When you do a Facebook post, when you do a promotional piece, what is it that's going to engage your audience? Well, in all honesty, it has nothing to do with content and everything to do with how you show up.
Right.
That's what they're engaging with. They see you, they can look in your eyes, they can see your expressions. Are you talking to them? Every single video you create, when you create that video, who are you talking to? Because when you look in that camera, is the person on the other end feeling that connection, or are they just being talked at?
Right.
Here's my thing, here's my stuff. So
if you're watching this video right now, like I am watching it as I interviewed Jim, you can see that he is resonating with us. He's looking at us. He's focused on us. I mean, right now you can see he's now looking at his computer screen and he's not really focused, but there's a difference between that, because people do talk, like if you see him right now, he's not engaged with us, but 2 seconds ago he was completely engaged. And you can see that in an interaction with a human being. I'm not knocking you for that, Jim. I'm just trying to show an example here. Yeah, I'm showing an example right here, because we can see your eyes and how you were energetically engaged with us. And to have that in a conversation holds a lot of weight in becoming a celebrity and becoming the owner of the room. You're going to walk out of that networking meeting or that meeting, and you're going to have left an etched mark, right? That's going to last. All right. Yes. And it's going to be something that, hey, that guy paid attention to me. That is so much value these days, because everybody's too busy. They're talking to you like this. Yeah. Or they're looking at somebody else, or they're looking at the cute girl walking by, or the cute gentleman, or they see another conversation over here that looks much more important than this one. And I want to hurry up out of this one and go to that one. And that's not the case. I can tell you so many times where I've seen really important conversations around me at meetings, and sure, I want to be over in that one, but I said, you know what? This is the one I'm in right now. This is the communication I'm in right now. Right?
You know what's amazing about that is what you're observing as you're talking is the thing you're craving is the connection you're seeing with those other people.
Right.
And when it's recognizing that I must not be connecting in the same way. I'm not showing up in the same way, because what I crave is to be a part of that connection.
Right.
And that's the whole point of our conversation is what is it that helps you show up to connect in a deep and meaningful way.
Right. And if you're one of those people, like I've done before, you said, you know what? Okay, I'm exiting this one. I'm going to exit this one, cut it short, go over to that one. Then you go to that one, and it's such a cold conversation, right? Because you just, you're entering it and you're not able to connect the way you were with that one person there. So you'll probably find that happens a lot too. So it's a one-at-a-time situation that would lead to a variety of connections, because I cannot tell you how many times I've been referred to because I pay attention to people on my podcasts. I pay attention to people in public, and the referrals come that way. So you trying to get your own referral by running around does not compare to the way other people refer you for giving them the connection. And I think
and I think it's coming back to that whole thing of dollar signs versus connection is the work that I'm providing, is the service that I want to give, one that connects me to the people that I want to provide that service to. You can't lead with the wallet. You can't lead with concept. You have to lead with your energy, and you have to lead with who you show up as the thing that they're going to be most interested in. And I think that's what happens for you. And what I've observed in my time with you for a long time is that what people get with you is that instant, I'm here, I'm present, I'm with you, I'm engaged, I want to find out about you, I'm interested in you. Notice that I've said you about 8 times in 4 sentences, because that's what it feels like. Everything is about, it ends up being about me. And they go, oh, wow, this is cool. It's about me. Right. And they go, I want to, here. Right. Thank you for paying attention to me here.
And that is the paramount of our existence is to feel something with other people over and beyond a relationship, a sexual relationship or whatever, or
sure.
partnership. It's connecting with people. I mean, how many times do people feel so lonely at the end of the day when they just did a whole day of nothing or something, or tried to connect, but they didn't connect on a higher level? You go to bed after connecting with somebody on a higher level. I encourage you to do that out there, by the way, and this is what this course is about. I encourage you to try to connect with somebody on a higher level, because even after this video is done here, Jim and I are probably going to have another 15-minute long conversation about how, wow, this was amazing how we shared this information here. So that happens on a daily basis for me with my podcast. I've been blessed to the fact that I'm able to create connections, and all these guests that I've had on my show, I have continued relationship with them because I paid the attention they needed. I made them look like rock stars, which everybody's a rock star if you can just bring it out in them, right? So this is what this is all about here today. I'm really excited that you took the time here, Jim, to educate my people here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Any last statements you want to give to these people before they press end on this? Or
well, just remember that connection has to start with self, and that you can achieve that. And you and I have talked about this before, and I'll be curious to think how you resonated with this. But when you are connecting with another human being, whether you are doing the connecting or someone is attempting to connect, the first thing that you respond to is the feeling. So it's that feeling is either your energy goes up, or your energy goes down. And you can tell almost instantly what type of connection is attempting to be made by how it feels to you when you make that first contact.
Right.
That person who's just looking at you as a dollar sign, when they go to engage your space, your instant response is one of resistance. Maybe it's minor. Maybe it's just, it's not like, oh my God, get away from me. But it might be a feeling of, I have to be careful. And so you're a little more guarded. Where the person who's genuinely wanting to connect with you is an uplifter, and that you'll feel that surge kind of hit you. Again, it may not be like a tidal wave. It may just be a gentle lifting feeling that you go, oh, and you feel yourself being pulled into that concept. So that's where showing up with yourself is so important, is realizing that space, so that when you engage that person, are you uplifting them, or are you bearing down on them?
Right.
Are they uplifting you, or are they bearing down on you? So that's just a little trick that I think works to help you get dialed into how you show up.
Yeah, I think you just opened another can of worms now that I want to talk about. is what if somebody does come up to you and they're connecting, they're wanting to connect with you? Sometimes people feel really, really uncomfortable with that. And then, because if they're new at this, and they're new at understanding connection between human beings, which is, once they understand this, it's going to be an addiction. We know that. Yeah. They might get overpowered, like, oh my God, this is really becoming a strong connection here. They're almost like afraid of it, right? They want to come out of it. Mm-hmm. And I guess we both are encouraging you to bear with it, and understand that this is part of purpose, purpose.
And find the commonality. If you're on the receiving end or you're in it, for me, what I do when I engage with someone who is a little, who in my attempt to engage is a little cagey or a little shifting, I will look for a commonality, again, because I'm really clear in how I show up. So I'm not going to engage a person unless I feel like I'm present and I'm really wanting to deal with that person.
Right.
So if I get resistance from them, I'll gently play around in that to see if I can find a common thread that we can open up to.
Right.
But also bear in mind that sometimes people aren't ready for that level of connection. So it may be that you go and you try to make the connection and it doesn't quite land yet. Always leave the connection in a good place, because it may mean that person just needs some time to digest your energy because they're not used to it.
Right.
And an hour, a day later, they're coming back and going, hey, remember we met, and suddenly they're able to engage because they had time to take it in and go, wow, that was legit. I want to explore that a little more. But in the moment, they didn't have the ability to sort of integrate the experience, and so don't judge it. Never judge it. Just continue to show up in it, and the people that are important in the experience to help you evolve your process will engage at some point in some time. It will happen.
Absolutely. Awesome, Jim. Thank you again so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me,
Everyone,
Dan.
Jim Case here today, helping us learn how to connect with people. This is awesome.